Welcome back to our second part of our lead scoring series. In part 1, we downloaded and scored companies from LinkedIn with the help of our Linkfluence platform. In this part, we will now download and score the persons within those companies who scored the highest, meaning the most interesting ones to us. It's now time to get those people we really want to connect to, talk to, interact with in those companies. As in video number 1, everything starts with a LinkedIn filter. This time we want to look into some of the companies we downloaded. So here I exported the companies that scored the highest from the 100s we had a look at, or we scored in the first video. We need now the name of one of them, and with this name we head over to LinkedIn, in this case Sales Navigator, and we will build a filter that gives us exactly the people we would like to get in touch with from the scored companies. In my case, I want to talk to some of the decision makers. As you see, we have here tons and tons of filters which should make it possible for you to, whatever scenario you're planning, to build here a filter that really gives you the results you're looking for. I will go for the seniority filter in my case. In training is not so good, I have to remove. CXO, vice president sounds good. Somehow the entry level always sneaks in. So this training strategic. I think that should be fine. My plan is also I downloaded companies from the software industries. I scored them on the criteria if they're addressing a B2B audience and if they're selling a product, not services. I want to talk to some of the decision makers to promote my LinkedIn services because they usually try to market and sell their products via LinkedIn and are looking for leads and business contacts there. So, how does it look now for this skilled AI? What do we get here? Co-founder, founding investor. Looks more or less okay. Let's check another company. For instance, this one here. Which results it would provide. Vice president, co-founder, director of sales. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I could totally live with this. So there would be for both companies fitting contacts in the result. What the Linkfluence platform is going to do is it goes over all those companies applying the filter that we're going to provide it. So we will take this link with all the filter settings back to the n8n where we build it into our downloading workflow. But before we do that, I also want to show you, in case you don't have a Sales Navigator account, just a standard account, how it works here. You go to LinkedIn, then you punch in, let's pick one of the keywords, sales for instance. In the next step, you would need to select people, and then you can also narrow it down here to current company. Let's see what this delivers. Yeah. Some of the faces already look familiar from our Sales Navigator search. The filter is not that fine, but in our scenario that we're working in here, that would be okay because we have filtered anyway a second time within our workflow with a LLM prompt. No matter which LinkedIn type you go with, the standard account or the Sales Navigator, you need this entire link for the search URL. And with this, we head back to n8n. And we put it here in our request node that calls the task download people endpoint from the Linkfluence platform. And we provide it here as parameter. Good. Now I need also that this makes sense. I should also explain the node before. Let's scroll it over here and make it a little bit bigger, and as well to connect it to a workflow trigger. The first node is a company's query node that retrieves all the companies that scored over a certain value from your Linkfluence account. I was scoring the companies with a rate from 0 to 30. I want to have only those companies that scored higher than 21, meaning they should have 30 in my case, which are the most interesting for me. Let's execute this step to see if it works. It returns 19 companies back from the Linkfluence platform, meaning we can then also execute the second node that creates a download people task with the search URL we just defined. On LinkedIn, we give it the name of our LinkedIn agent, which has the name from our LinkedIn account, and we get the company name and the company ID for all the companies that scored over the value. And if this runs correctly, it creates for all those companies download tasks. Let's double check if this is really the case. So if we go over to our Linkfluence platform where I'm still logged in and we go to the download task, we see the download task from our first video with the companies, also indicating here with the company icon. And here, there are all the download people tasks for the first companies. They are already completed, meaning for those who already watched and worked through the video, let's continue to the DB viewer and look into our persons collection, run the query, and they are only readable to you in your Linkfluence account. As explained, all this data is encrypted and can be only viewed and used by you. Great. That means part 1 of downloading the persons is finished successfully. So let's move on to the next part, the scoring process. I will walk you step by step through the workflow before we let it run. In the first node, we query the same companies, meaning those that scored over a certain threshold value, in my case 21, and then loop over all those companies step by step. This node gets me, by using the endpoint companies employees, all the, for the company that is currently running through the loop, by providing the company ID as parameter, all the employees that we downloaded from this company. And in the next one, they are prepared by this little JavaScript snippet for the LLM prompt. Let's move on to this one. I want to have someone very high on a decision-taking level who has the authority to decide over sales budgets. And this is exactly what I'm telling the LLM. Also giving some hints for what job titles it should look for and describing in detail what type of return I expect. This JavaScript snippet from the node before prepares all the employees that we got from this company in a list, always their public LinkedIn identifier and their job description, which is then passed into the prompt. And the prompt now returns only the highest person that we could identify who has the highest authority over the sales budget. The public identifier of this person should be returned from the LLM. So that I can update this person in the last node by using the endpoint persons from the Linkfluence Me platform with the custom data. Those who's already watched the last video are familiar with this concept. You can use the MongoDB that we use on the Linkfluence platform to set or enrich the companies that you're storing there and persons that you're storing there with some custom data that is meaningful to your scenario. In this case, I set the field name selected with the value score 10. The reason why I selected this person is the budget owner. So in case I come to this record later on in a couple of months, it should give me a hint why I selected this person for the next step in my sales funnel. Okay, then I would say, let's see if this is running. So for this, we connect this trigger node to the workflow down here and say execute. Let's see. Seems to work fine. Then see you as soon as the process is finished. The process is finished. It went over all the companies. Let's check if the score was returned successfully into the Linkfluence account. For this we head back over, refresh, lasts a bit, okay, data, it's a bit harder to find. So selected, score 10 is budget owner. To look at all the persons in a more convenient way, we do it like in the last video and export all the people to a Google Sheet. You can export it to them, of course, by using this endpoint persons query everywhere where selected exists true. If you use another query, depending on what persons you want to get out of your Linkfluence account, you can then export it here via this node and n8n also to your applicant tracking system, to your CRM, whatever system that you're using within your scenarios. Let's export this quickly now over to Google Sheets. Now we go over this export into this persons tab. And I think now it would make sense to sort this per company, that we see if for each company one budget owner was selected and if the selection of the LLM makes also sense. By looking on the job titles, we have a lot of CEOs, as we were also looking, say, on rather small companies with maximum up of 50 people working there. VP head of business, I would say that worked quite fine. Mission accomplished. With this list of people, of course, we would let those processes run on bigger numbers, continue the download and scoring of companies, continuing the download and scoring of people. And then this is the perfect fuel for your sales funnel to have then a constant outreach. The workflow you can download for free in our school community, of which you find the link in the show notes below the video. If you have challenges adapting the workflows to your processes, consider joining one of our weekly update calls of the school communities or posting your issues there on the wall. Usually you have there some people who can offer you some quick support. Yeah, let us also know in the comments below the video what other workflows and scenarios would make sense and really help you to push your LinkedIn automation game to the next level. Those scenarios that I mentioned the most often, we will try to implement fast. So see you soon and happy social selling.